Howdy everybody, Floyd again here. Welcome back to the asylum. As you can see, I've actually gotten the replacement muffler. It was a used replacement muffler on the CL175. It turned out to be a little bit more involved than a simple pipe swap because I had to do some modifications to it because I had good head pipes on the original and a fair muffler on the replacement. But the results were worth it. Stick around and see what it sounds like and what it looks like in the end. When the last time you saw this bike, it was riding and running good, and I mentioned that it had a big hole in the muffler and that I would be replacing it. I just decided for giggles to try running it some without the muffler just to see what it sounded like. And quite frankly, it's way too loud for me. But I figure I'll let y'all hear that before we put a muffler on it. Way too loud, especially for a 175 Honda. As I mentioned, I had bought a good used muffler on eBay, and it came in. This is it over here, and the muffler itself is pretty good, but as you can see, the head pipes are severely rusted, whereas the head pipes on this aren't rusted bad at all. In fact, they're just the lightest bit of surface rust. The problem being, as you see right here, this pipe is made into the muffler as one piece. But there is a solution to that. If I were going to build a show bike, I would just have this whole thing re-chromed. I know a shop that will do it. But on the last one, somebody had added the pipe right here that would slip down inside of that muffler. So I'm going to cut that off, cut that muffler loose right there, and then just add it onto that pipe and tack weld it. Then I'll go back over it with some silver paint. Because this is not a show build, this is a patina special. So the other head pipe, it just unbolts and slips in. But it still looks really awful and rusty compared to what's already on the bike. So I'm going to reuse the head pipes with my new muffler. I'm going to clean it all up, vapor blast it though. There's no point in half doing it. If I'm going to do all this work, make it look as good as I can without putting new parts on it. So, without any further ado, let's get right down to business. As you can see here, I have strapped the muffler down to the table and liberated it from the rusty head pipe. Now I've got to take the bike apart, install the other head pipe into this muffler, and put it back together. Hey, with a sawzall and a welder, anything you dream of can happen. Clean up this cut and flatten it out just a little bit with a die grinder. Get some of the roughness off of it and the sharp edges. There we go. That's nice and round looking. Of course, the interesting part about this exhaust system on this bike, one of the reasons why I grabbed it so quick, is that it seems to have almost no surface rust. Even the original muffler that blew out on the bottom didn't have that much visible surface rust. First, I'm going to take the heat shield off. because you cannot take these pipes off as an assembly. They have to be in two separate pieces. Normally it would be the top pipe plus the muffler and then the bottom pipe in that order. And it'll still be that order going back together as well. But before I put this back together, I'm actually planning to clean up all of these parts. Okay, we have this right here to come loose. There's a stud that bounced back here. And this 10mm right here, and then a couple up here as well. This one out first. Then there's a mount down here, which may or may not need to come off, but I'm going to loosen it up anyway, so you can see the piece. This piece right here, which is what this is screwed into, it goes through both pipes. Now we have to take this one off. And slide this out. And I'll set it off to one side. I have a long wobble joint extension here that's going right under here. This just loose like so. We may have to loosen the other one up to be able to get this one all the way out. I got a double nut on this one because it had a partially stripped out shaft on the nut. On the exhaust stud, it's partially stripped out. So first, loosen these up enough so that pipe can wiggle. How about that? That stud came out. I'll have to put a helicoil in the head. Oh well, that's fine with me. Now this will be out the way enough that this will come off. These will come out. And then the pipe wiggles out. And then the same thing on the other side. You get good at taking the exhaust off if you own one of these bikes for very long. Because anytime you have to service the air filter under this side, you have to take the exhaust pipe off. Which is why so many of these bikes wind up with pod filters and don't run worth a flip without extensive rejetting. Anyhow, I'm gonna get everything fixed up, cleaned up, and then we'll put it back together. Alright, it's a beautiful day. I'll do some more work on this thing. I did wind up putting a helicoil in one of the exhaust pipe studs here on the right hand side. I've got all the pipes up here ready to be cleaned up. They don't look too bad. I'm going to put these in the vapor blaster and shine them up as good as I can. I'm not going to do any replating or try to deal with any severe staining or anything because this is a survivor, not a restoration. I will, before I put it in the vapor blaster, plug up all the openings in the muffler so that it doesn't fill up with grit. So I should clean all of these covers up really well. We'll walk over here. I got my machine from Vapor Honing Technology. It does a really good job. I've had it for almost 10 years now, and I've been really satisfied with it. Oh well, let me get to work. I'm not going to bore you with watching my backside while I vapor blast this stuff. Oh, hi. Back on the CL175 again after taking a short break. I forgot that I was supposed to be filming content, not just working on a motorcycle. But anyhow, there was a lot of butchery going on because, like I said, this is a good enough job. So in order to put the better muffler on the better set of head pipes, I had to cut them loose, and I've got a piece of pipe in here that's wedged up in there about that far. It shouldn't leak. I put some exhaust sealant that I had left over from a Delcovic system I installed. Put that on it. If that doesn't seal it, I'll come back with a band clamp and seal it off completely, but I think it's just fine. The supposedly pristine muffler that I got off of eBay when I started vapor blasting, it had a small hole in the backside, so I wound up using a high strength, high temperature epoxy for that. And everything else, I just kind of forgot about the camera. I got everything sitting here together, just waiting on me to come back and work on it. Snug these down a little bit. And show you some of the next steps. Well, there we go. It's all back together. Let's crank it up now and see if my butchery was successful. So this is one motorcycle where I have been deliberately taking the path of good enough, but I want it to run excellently, of course, and sound good. Sounds much better, and I don't have any discernible exhaust leaks around the joints. So I'm going to call that good enough and start putting the shields back on. We'll start with the one that goes on the back of the muffler. having a good JIF screwdriver to do stuff like this with. It pulls all these screws out with ease. I know if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you're probably tired of hearing me preach about JIF screwdrivers. But if you're not, or if you haven't bought any yet, I'll put a link to this set that I have down below. I've been striving quite deliberately not to put any new hardware on here. Make sure I put used hardware back on it. But one of these screws is missing a flat washer. So it gets one shiny new M6 flat washer on it. You'll notice I don't tighten down anything until I get all the screws in. It's just a habit I've gotten into, because sometimes you'd have to wiggle it to one hole or something, maybe a little off. Go ahead and leave it slack first. And there we go now. It's much quieter than it was, even with the original muffler. It looks a little bit better without looking too good, if you know what I mean. This bike, I like it. It's a nice survivor. Nice rideable bike. Start easy on the first kick. When I tested the charging system works good. Now it's nice and quiet. I like that. So that's it for this time. Y'all keep riding, keep wrenching, and stay crazy.